They'll lynch you, but he did, and he laughs at
Yes. Thanks, everybody. Russ of the West Ham Network. Hope you're safe and well. Happy Friday. Congratulations. Another week's done. And for those of us in the UK, the first of 2 consecutive long weekends, as we've got May Day bank holiday on Monday, and then the following week, Charlie Boy's been made king in it, so we get the day off for that as well. So not too bad. And we've got one at the end of the month as well, haven't we? Because that's Overflow's birthday. So 3 bank holidays in May, and it's payday as well for some of us as well. So hope you're all safe and well. Nice to see you all. Nice to see you all. Welcome. Now, a bit different today. And as you know, I like to jazz it up a little bit, So basically, the idea was we did I can't remember what the thing was, what the video was, but it was a video we put up yesterday. Also, by the way, if you haven't watched it, go and watch the David Croft interview. Crofty's interview, the F1 commentator or lead commentator for Sky Sports. Great show. So check that out. It's very, very good. He's a massive West Ham fan, seems to get older. Lots of interesting points about his view of West Ham, and obviously he puts his Miami's 11 together, which spans probably most of his West Hamness. I talk a bit about F1 as well. That kicks off today as well with the Baku Grand Prix, the Azerbaijan Grand Prix. Anyway, so the idea was on one of the videos, Damien, who is a regular commenter on our videos, said questions to the the viewers, the channel viewers, the subscribers. What players do you think are sellable in the summer, and how much would you basically accept them for in terms of money? And I thought, you know what? That's a bloody good idea. That's a bloody good idea. That's an idea for my show. Hold the beer, off I go. So that's the idea of today. Let's quickly say hello to 3 people. Michael, please hope you are well, my friend. Won't take less than 100 minutes. We'll talk about Rice anyway in a minute. So Real Beat Frame, hope you are well too. Still 3 more years, so 100 million. Well, we've got a 2-year. Is it 2 year, 1 year additional, isn't it? I think on him. Anton's in the chat. Good afternoon to you, Mr. Baker again. What we got here? His contract ends in 2022. Yeah, but I think we've got 1 year option on top of that, I believe, Matt. Going, gone. Nice to see you, Barry. Nice to see you too, usual suspect. Anton and the West Ham Network are in, okay? Being honest, if we were to win the conference, ensuring Europe football next year, and obviously I have a feeling Rice won't leave this window. Yes, we're not going to talk about Declan Rice as such, but obviously Rice would be a major focus. But there's a lot of players who could be made available. And then, so what I've done is I've created a tier list. We love a tier list here, don't we? But this tier list is slightly different in that I can't get it to go full screen. It's slightly different in that I've only included the people who are sellable. So does presentation mode help? I think it does. So it's only sellable. So it's not including the people who are technically out of contract. In the end of the, we've spoken about them several times, the likes of Aaron Cresswell, Ogbonna, Soufal, though we've got options on him, Lanzini. That it? I think so. Maybe one more. So it's going to be, and again, it's your ideas. It's would you sell them? How much would you sell them for? And a rough idea of pricing as well. I think it's a bit different to get your views. So let's share my screen and we'll have a bit of a debate, a bit of a mass debate. We haven't had a mass debate for ages. So let's bring this bad boy out. So we've got let's go full screen. I'm going to sit in the corner. Hello. There I am. So I've got, let me see if I can make it a little bit bigger as well so we can really see what's going on. There we go. And they said men can't multitask. Well, I thank you. I think we can. There we go. Just so I can see myself just creeping in there. Actually, I might go. No, I can't move myself at the top. Anyway, so we're going to go through these players one at a time. I've done 5 tiers. I've done not for sale, so like unsellable, sold at top price. Could be tempted. We could be tempted to sell them. Sold below market value, and sold at any price. Okay, so what we're going to do is go for one at a time. I want you to say what you think, and then maybe we'll put together a in terms of how much. Anyway, so what we've got here. Will Rice stay with 1 year? Oh, I think that is probably a video on its own, Mr. West Ham Network, I'll be honest. Don't forget to please subscribe. Give it a thumbs up. Look at Anthony. I do all the emojis. Leave a comment. According to the Telegraph, Rice is Arsenal's #1 target. I think also Euro Tillemans will be there as well, to be honest, but we'll see. Right, let's start with Kurt Zouma. Let's start with Kurt Zouma. Obviously, I'm going to just put him in the middle of the time, but no, I'll hold it there. So, anyway, so for Kurt Zouma, so obviously he's a player who could be available. I mean, all these players are basically could be sold, or they could be moved on, and they might not be sold at all. We'll put him there for a tick. But anyway, I want to get your views on Kurt Zouma. So obviously he's a player who has definitely found his form. You know it, my friend. He's a player who's definitely had a resurgence in form, I would say. And what I think in the last couple of games, particularly, he's back to his usual best in terms. We're back to his best in terms of being a good blocker. Loves a good block, doesn't he? I said, I call him and Aguerd grit and guile, because he's the grit and Aguerd is the guile. But would you sell him? Would you sell him? If someone came calling, would you sell him? So you in the chat, you can either say whether you would sell him, and we'll put him in the right. Yeah, but according to Telegraph, parsnips give you rising house prices. Really interesting. So we've got Zouma. No way, I wouldn't sell the Zouma cat kicker. He's blinding. I would try and keep him. I think a few of these are going to be not for sale. In all honesty, I think you've got squad. I think where you've got. I mean, now particularly, we've got a situation where I reckon we have 8 players who are pretty much nailed on, really, aren't they? I think 8 players are pretty much nailed on. And then you have a sort of a difference in terms of the various other players as well. Maybe like you'll have differing views on maybe Benrahma or Fornals, but I think for Zouma, I think he's someone you obviously wouldn't want to sell anyway. So we've got Zouma is blinding. I would try and keep him. Zouma not for sale. Only sell Zouma if better available at a reasonable price. No sale. We need a backup with his injuries. Zouma is class, but his knees worry me. We would go for. Oh no, he wouldn't. He is dog, Matt. Absolutely dog, mate. I mean, look at being a centre back for Leicester as well. He's always and talking to a lot of Leicester fans, always good for a mistake. Always good for a mistake. Okay, so majority says we'll keep Zouma, not for sale. Not for sale. Okay, so that makes sense. Let's go with, I don't know why these are in any order, but let's go with his centre back partner, Nayef Aguerd. We'll just put him there for a tick. So Nayef obviously he's had a dodgy, he had a great start to his, not really a great start. He was injured. When he came back from injury, he had a good start to his West Ham career properly. Lots of good performances, lots of accolades. We had that famous tackle when the last ditch tackle. It could have been tackle of the year if they had that as an accolade. And then you go to Newcastle game, dipping confidence, was dropped a couple of games. Now he's back in. Now there was talk at Man United was sniffing around for him and looking at him as a possible. But I think I know where this one's going, in all honesty. Keep regardless. No way. I'd keep Aguerd. Also, our defence is strong on paper. No chance. No sale. Not a bloody chance. Alan, yes. And great shout about the future captain. And the fact is, someone like Nayef is a very, very useful player in that he speaks so many different languages as well. So many different languages, and that's really useful, particularly in the modern day, being a captain, because you can communicate easily with the English players, with the French players, with the Italian players. I don't know if he speaks Italian, but he speaks 3 or 4 languages, I think, which is fantastic. So it looks like we're going to keep him. Yeah, he's not for sale. You hands off Ten Hag. Hands off Ten Hag. because they were sniffing around. There was rumours of him sniffing around for him. So anyway, so let's talk about this one. I think is quite interesting. Emerson, and I'll put him there for a minute. Emerson. Let's talk about Emerson. They're obviously signing from Chelsea, £12 million signing. Arguably one of arguably the quickest player to integrate himself in the squad, because obviously he has Premier League experience as well, particularly. So has been fitting in. Recently, he's lost his spot in the starting lineup to Aaron Cresswell, who's having a renaissance. Obviously, Cress's contract is coming to an end in the summer. There was talk, we reported the other day, that apparently if Moyes is still in charge, then Aaron gets another 1 year deal next year. That's what we've been led to believe. It's under the table, Cockney. If I showed you, I'm going to get demonetized, my friend. So Emerson, I mean, there was also talks of maybe us looking at DiMarco from Inter Milan with Emerson plus money as well. But what would you do? Would you sell him? Would you keep him? Would you sell him? And obviously, the idea is not necessarily selling him because he's crap, but selling him maybe to reinvest, get a younger model, that type of thing. Sell Emerson if better available. Keep Emerson for another year at least. Emerson is a good wing back who attacks when he plays. He's a must, in my opinion. Sell for younger player with pace and defence. I would sell for 25 million or more, but he's a great player. Would be good if he pays attention. If you can get a top price for Emerson, I'd sell. Interesting. And this is like he's the first one, I think, of these squad players. There's certain players, I think, I think with Nayef, I think with, obviously Zouma, I think with Declan Rice, I think with people like that, there's definitely a pool of players who are almost unsellable, so to speak. But maybe Emerson's the first one. Maybe. No, keep. The first one that settles and works well was Paqueta. Top price. What we got here, Emerson and Scammy for DiMarco's a potential bit of business. Well, I think it's more likely to be Emerson plus money. I think the idea is hopefully we can keep Scamacca based on whoever's in the dugout in the summer. I think makes a big difference. Cress is our right back next year. We're in trouble. You mean left back, Scott? I'm sure he'll do a job left back. So it seems that maybe. I think actually could be tempted. It's not a bad place to put him. I think we could be tempted. Wouldn't say he's totally out the door, but I think we could be tempted. I think not even necessarily, I'd say a top dollar in terms of money, to be honest. But anyway, let's move on and talk about, let me try and find, it's all down here. Why is it all gone? Why is it all down there anyway? Okay, here we go. Listen, here's another one. Let's talk about Ben Johnson. So Ben Johnson, who arguably is, well, he was, the last off the production line in terms of academy players who could develop into a regular first team player. I think he's made about 80 appearances or so for West Ham. So, he's been around for a long time, since his debut in 2019, something like that. I can't remember. Anyway, so he's made quite a few appearances. But he is a player who is in and out of the team, in and out of the squad. He hasn't got a position. He's a squad player at the moment. He hasn't nailed anything down. There was talks of Everton looking at him, and I think he would do well under Dyche. I think he's not really. He's not like a modern day defender in my eyes. I think he's an old school defender. I think he's probably one I could probably get rid of, I think, to be honest. Get rid. Simple. Get rid. Johnson will leave as not happy. I will sell. And also, the fact is he didn't sign a new contract, and then we had to instigate the 2-year automatic trigger onto that. So, he was always looking to, I think, wasn't it Arsenal who was looking to get him at the time? And then he's just fallen from grace, hasn't he? Sell, nothing worse than a sad beat. Oh, it. He's gone probably for free as his contract expires, I believe. No, I think he's still out. No, he says it's not. No, we can sell him. He's not out. I think he's got another year, 18 months on that at least. It was only last summer that we acted. It might have been 2 years. Sell. He has regressed this season. That's a great way of thinking it. He's regressed. Not sure his worth, but not much I should imagine. I would keep him, maybe load him to get a bit better on the pitch, but love Johnson. Is it too late for a loan, though? Is it too late for a loan? Would that mean he comes back and is all, all guns blazing? I don't know. Ben could move on. Hopefully, would get a decent price for him. Were to blame for ruining his career. Squad needs to be smaller for you to provide opportunities for younger talent. He's a space filler, plays across the back line. So it looks like, get rid. And I don't think, he's not someone I think people desperately want out the club, but I think that good. I might even suggest that, because I think, with Barry's one, he's a space filler. With Toby, needs to be smaller if you get more youth coming through. So let's put him there. Let's put him there for the time being. I think that's a fair reflection. Right, let's move on. Let's go to who we got. Let's go Thilo Kehrer. Now, in some respects, I think it's a similar discussion to Ben Johnson, really. He hasn't settled into a position. He was bought as a centre-back. He then moved to right-back, played a few good games, then wasn't very good, then was dropped, then couldn't get his way back into the squad. And now with Vladimir back in the side, that right-back is pretty much his now to lose in terms of Vlad. Thilo's come on. He's made appearances, as a second half substitute. Use it centre back. Although he did play centre back the other day, wasn't it? When we had Ogbonna and Aguerd out, and he played very well. But it wasn't well enough to keep him in the squad in the match day, 11. So, I'd be interested to get your thoughts on him as well. What we say, I think Kieran needs more time. Don't see him as a plus for us. We bought him, but didn't develop him. Keep. Sell if the price was right, but don't think he's that good, to be honest, for the Premier League. I think Kier will be decent in the right position. What is that position, Jay? What is that position? That's the key. I think it's the, and it's the same with everyone. Oh yeah, if we get in the right position, but the thing is, there's 11 positions on the pitch, and if one of them is not right, if the way Moyes at the moment sets up, what position is right for him? Unless unless better available, needs to stay, has potential, but so did Diop. He needs time to express himself more. He's a backup seat. Get rid. I love Kehrer. I don't think we should sell him. I can see him coming good, but could be tempted. Based on that, we got Iron Toby here. Very good question. I wouldn't play him over. No, you wouldn't. So he's a backup. So actually, if that's the case, then Barry's right. His best position is the back of a back three, the right side, and you have Zouma, Aguerd, and Thilo Kehrer. But now we don't play it. Kehrer under a new manager might come good. Yes, when he was at PSG, he played well until Poch came in and it didn't work when Poch was there. If you play attacking football, he needs to stay. So there's varied a bit. Some really like him, some don't. Worth keeping. Can cover at fullback and centre back. Liability sometimes, but squad player, German squad must have been thin, says Kevin. So I'm going to put him there because actually, by the sounds of it, you're talking about top tier. He's not definitely definitely to sell him, but actually he's not indispensable. He's there is a backup. If they sell him, if there's better available as well. So let's put him there. I like this a lot. Thank you, Damien, if he's listening. Okay, let's talk. I'm going to keep him to the last one. Here we go. It is a divisive one. Let's talk about Thomas Soucek, shall we? Let's talk about Tommy Soucek. And obviously, we're only including players here who are sort of sellable. So not coming to the end of their contracts or anything like that. They're sellable. So that's what we're doing. Now with me, Tommy Soucek, where to start with Tommy? Sell him straight away. Sell not good enough. There's a place and time for Tommy Soucek. in my opinion. I think at the moment he's playing as more of a blocker. And I think strange. It's a strange one. I mean, do you know what? I mean, he burst onto the scene. He's, and I think actually, to be honest, I think actually Alexander makes a really good point here. Being a great servant, constant donkey, always look like he's giving the ball away or interrupting the flow of play. Always runs his arse off though. Can't even score these days, and Jeremy doesn't win many headers. Buy by potato salad. Would he be one of those players who, if you sell him, you'll miss him, but you don't know you miss him until you sell him? A bit like that Hayden Mullins type. I don't know. I think we should sell him. Fruit and veg stall at Romford Market, old potato salad. Moyes can take him with him to his next team. If he doesn't retire, of course. Sell him for potato salad. Sell. He's been shocking this year. I'd sell Soucek. I said Soucek can still work out as a backup centre back. As bad as he's seen, I really think squad player, but probably not happy with that. Rice going. We need to keep Soucek. I think in my mind he's a worse version of Cheku Kouyaté. Great shout. Okay. So sold at any price. Fair. I mean, basically, the way I'm looking at it is literally everyone's like, get rid. So I'm going to put him there. He might excel when Rice leaves. If Rice leaves, Mandy, who knows? Not at any price. Okay. Well, I'll leave him at there because I think we have a history of centre backs that have a decent for a few years and fall off, like Kouyaté. Diarmi, yep, he's the most amazing player we've ever had. Amazed he's plays every week, but I love him dearly. God bless you, Kieran. God bless you. All right, okay. So I put him. Is that Ben Johnson there? That's a weird one. Kouyaté was miles better than Soucek. Yeah, I don't know. Eddie's faults. Okay, right. Let's talk about who should we talk about? Let's talk about Areola. He came sell the fucking lot. And good night. Thank you. Cheers, Howard. I'm off. So with Areola, for me, he is a player who I feel sorry for Areola. The reason I feel sorry for him is the man's come in and, we all assumed he was going to be number one. Hasn't been number one. Fabianski's still been number one in Moyes' eyes. Now, if you agree or disagree, that's the decision he's made. Now, what happens afterwards is Fabianski gets injured. Areola comes in. Did all right, but obviously didn't do enough to convince Moyes to keep him in goal. As soon as Fabianski's back, he's dumped onto the bench and wheeled out for the European games. Now, I don't know. It's a strange one. He's lost his spot as in the France squad. Obviously, Hugo Lloris is retired. He's come in, and he hasn't taken the number one spot because obviously not getting regular first team football. And I don't know. I just don't know. I mean, let's have a look. Let's have a look. What we got here? Areola, keep, not for sale. I'd sell Zouma. He's always injured. Please keep. The nipple is our future, in my opinion. And that's the thing. The one thing, and I always say it. For someone so big, he doesn't do enough for me in the box. Do you know what I mean? I don't know if you understand. If I'm explaining myself right. So, I watch and like when we played Newcastle the other day, I watched like that, and I watched a lot of Newcastle. Nick Pope is a couple of inches shorter than Areola, but you wouldn't know it. He is all in that box. Anything that 6-yard box is his. It's his area. He commands it. Areola doesn't command it for my liking. He doesn't. Great shot stopper, no denying it. Good, better distribution than Fabianski. Not great, not 100% perfect, but better than Fabianski, I'd say. But it's that sort of commanding role in that centre. And because he hasn't played enough with Aguerd and Zouma, they still haven't got this communication right, and that worries me. But as you said, maybe a pre-season might work. Bye-bye. Areola, can't see him staying. Apparently, he's unhappy about the situation anyway, so we'll see. Should have been given a chance for sure. Hasn't hasn't been given the chance, I think. But I think when he did, I don't think he did enough. That's the thing. Keep under Andy manager, he starts. Not sure about him. Needs a year in the first team. I'd agree with Epic. Sell Zouma. He could be off skin. Not Happy Bunny. He must have promised first team to sign us. Definitely keep him. Needs to get a chance as first team next year. We have Heggie going on loan. He's promised, but we need him to loan. Keep him at all costs. Sell Areola and get George Long, brilliant keeper. We need 2 centre backs, more centre backs. Areola should stay due to being a bit. I think he did. Keep, not for sale, but I'm saying. But if Moyes stays, might cash in. That's Moyes though. Any other manager starts him could be tempted. If they're courting, then Decky's surely under. Oh, yeah, indeed. I love Areola. Always goes walkabout in corners. That's what I mean, Gary. That's what I mean. He does. At the end of the day, Scott, we are comparing it, and David Moyes compares them as well, and that's why one's in, one's out, isn't it? Pifford could be up for grabs. Don't know if I'd rather Areola or Pickford. GP would like him. You're right. Didn't save one penalty against Blackburn. You're totally right. And Fabianski has saved a few. But no, I think Fabianski, anything in that box, he does tend to make. That's what I mean. But anyway, in the last few games, they had the same defence for more than one game. Remember when he was the best player at Lille when they went down? He was. Probably Areola is a Rob Green quality at times. Okie dokie. So it looks like general consensus is he's not for sale. General consensus, I'm saying, by, you get the outpour with Soucek, he was going to be sold. Okay, this one's probably going to split hairs a little bit. Saeed Benrahma. Let's talk about Saeed Benrahma. Get Henderson, great shout. Yeah, great shout. Now, he was a player a year ago that everyone was saying, why isn't Moyes playing enough? Why isn't he playing enough? And then, for me, Moyes starts playing him, and he's not doing it. Now people are saying for him to be dropped, and he's not being dropped because now Moyes is Moyes' man. His inconsistency really frustrates me at the moment. Sorry, Russ, you're welcome to your opinion, but as a keeper, I'm a keeper as well. And I think personally, and I personally think that Areola does not command his box enough for a man his size. That's it. And that's my opinion as well, Scott. Sell drives me mad. Sell. I'd even give him away. I would sell Benny. I don't think he's doing it. I would let Benny go. Not for sale, been our best attacking player this season. It's a great point, Kevin. Some games he doesn't do it much. Been generally class. Get a pacey winger for the left. Could be tempted for anything over 20 mil. Type of player will be attracting to the new. That's a great shout, Gary. Yeah, the newly promoted sides, possibly. Mrs. B says I'm a keeper too. There we go. If we get a decent offer of him, sell. So at top price. I think we should try him in the number 10. I always think that he's not a winger. Sell. Keep, but needs to get his form back. Would let him go if we don't lose any money. Sell. Think more century would help him massively. I think Benny thinks his top job is another needs to get his head in the game. I totally agree. So it seems maybe sell at a top price. Actually, no, I think it could be tempted. I think there's a lot more selling championship, that type of thing. So, all right, we'll go with that. Right, let's move on and talk about the fornicator. Let's talk about Pablo Fornals, a guy that goal against Bournemouth, you saw how much he meant to him. You saw how much he meant to him. And I think he was ever present. But he's fallen down the pecking order. Let's be honest, he has. We love him and we conflict. But I loved Craig Dawson, but we had to let him go. So I don't know. I'd be interested to see what he said. Kevin with Benrahma in a 10 deeper. Cornet, Scamacca. Yeah, great shout, Kev. I think that's whatever. I wouldn't mind that. And even if Paqueta does, even if Benrahma isn't, then I'd put Paqueta into that 10 and drop in Flynn is playing a deeper role. 100% keep. Keep. Lossum and place inside could be tempted to sell. Hammer through and through. Keep Pabs first name on the sub bench. Keep all day long. It makes me sad that Power's not playing. We get free sell. Fornals keep him playing more. Most of our, but yes, I mean we can keep him, but he says I'm playing more, but he's not getting any game time now. So what's the difference? That's what I'm trying to sort of allude to. It's like it's where we are now. He's not getting any game time. He's sitting on the bench. If a side comes in with 20 million quid for him, would you let him go? That's the whole premise of it, really. Sell, I don't think he offers enough. Work rate in person isn't enough to keep him. See, that's I think that's quite an objective view, Andy. Taking that sort of head and heart. That's quite a head rather than a heart, and I quite appreciate that. Under different managers, he might flourish. Indeed, keep under a different manager could be rejuvenated. If players are replaced, the majority could go for me. Balde has taken over from those whose passion for the club. Didn't Fornals say he wants to retire at West Ham? I know Bonner said he wants to retire at West Ham, but anyway, only player who have that can do the hokey cokey. Scorpio, indeed. Keep Fornals. Won't start him with so many games on the trot. Moyes needs to rotate. 20 million plus, I think, but only out of respect, as we know, he'd start elsewhere. Guy never stops running. Keep. He's being moised, says Andy Imp. Okay, so it seems like he's I mean, not for sale, but then I don't know. But I'll put him in not for sale because the majority of people they keep. So there we go. Okay. I'm not even tempted by a 20 mil offer. Fair enough. Okay, let's go with I know we paid about 25 million, but from Villarreal, but I tried for him. Okay, let's put Flynn Downes in. Interesting. Obviously bought him from Swansea. At the time, he was the top pass completion Englishman in the top 5 leagues. Bit player. He's been a bit player, a squad player this season, hasn't he? He's been in and out. He's had a couple of runs of games in consecutively when we had a few injuries out when Paqueta was out, and he plays like a 10. He comes in, it seems, when he's had enough of Soucek playing. And I think I probably know where this one's going, in all honesty, but we'll just do it anyway. Anyway, so yeah, I think he sort of knows where I think I know where he's going. Keep. Oh, it's all jumped up. Everyone's scared. Keep these more games. Keep should we stay replacement for Muller Rice. It's our future. Keep. He's a lot of room to grow. Well, he's 23, so he's the same age as Declan Rice. He's a week younger than Declan Rice. So, selling Downes says we have no vision for developing players. Midfielder Paqueta Rice is more effective than our central midfielder, right? Yep, I agree. Keep Downes, give him more starts. Keep Downes. He's been good in every position, stuck him in. Can you make the screen bigger? I will do Epic, don't worry. Flynn for me is Rice's replacement. 100% for the future. Must be demoralising for a player to play and play well, not get dropped. So for me, it looks like it seems that everyone wants to keep him. So there we go. Okay. A few more left of the sellable players. Let's go with. I'm going to keep him to the end, I think. Let's go with Maxwell Cornet. Haven't seen it yet. We haven't seen the best of him yet. Obviously, there's loads. Bags of potential. Can't seem to score. Can't seem to stay on side. Is it worth cutting our losses if a promoted side comes? If Burnley come back and want him back, do we sell him? If they come back from, I don't know. Where is Sufal? Epic, for those of you who are late to the party, this is only the sellable players. So it's the players who aren't out of contract. Obviously, technically, Vladimir is out of contract, so is Bonner, so is Cresswell. So we're not including those types of players in this, and Fabianski, for example. So that's what we do. Bin, sell, keep, right price, needs time. No comment. He hasn't played enough minutes for us. Not for sale. Keep him. Keep him until January. If he hasn't improved, then sell him. We'll play him more to have a good enough answer. but would keep him. Could be tempted. Not seen the Burnley player, question mark his mentality. Keep Cornet, needs his pace. Keep, unpopular opinion, but I think Cornet being out for so long is better as it allowed him to fully recover. I agree, Alex. There's no point bringing him back if he's going to be injured again in 5 minutes' time. He's only started about 3 games. Nobody could know if he's good enough yet. Silly to semi early in his West Ham career. Sell thought he was a poor player at Burnley. Woo! It's not cut and dry, is this one? Not cut and dry. I'm going to leave him there. Could be tempted. No, I might move him up a little bit. We'll even move him to there. Sold at the top price. You won't get a top price for him. But there we go. A bit of a worry for me. Cornet good, but don't know. Could be tempted. It's interesting, isn't it? Interesting. Him being out so long means I think it less likely for him to get really injured. Indeed. People forget. You're totally right, Peter. You're totally right. Sorry, Alex. Okie dokie. Let's go with. Okay, then we're going to get into the interesting one. Let's go with Jared Bowen. Obviously, very poor beginning of the season. Played himself off the plane for Qatar, I think. In all honesty, he had it almost in the bag last season. But he had a very poor run of game. Actually, it's funny. I was watching James Alcott, who's a very good football YouTuber, had the top 5 players in terms of forward positions, in terms of progression, not progression. What's the other one? Worsening. Yeah. From last season to this season, West Ham had 2 players in the top 5, and that's the main reason why we are being shit this year. That's the main reason. We had 2 players. One, Michail Antonio, and this is in terms of goal contributions. That's goals and assists added together this season compared to the last season. Obviously, a few games left, but still. I think 5th was. Can't remember. Good start. 4th was Michail Antonio. 3rd was Jared Bowen. I think 2nd was Salah, and the top one was Heung-min Son. Anyway, but it's quite good. Anyway, let's keep it going. So we've got what we going. Hands off bullseye. Keep Bowen, not for sale, one of the best players. Sell Bowen, absolutely useless. Don't know why. I'm sure that was a joke. Keep one of our best players. 60 plus, we can keep him go, but I'd keep him. Keep. Yeah, I don't think you get 60 million. That Gonzo's a good GP. You're a piss take GP, aren't you? No way he'll struggle once the team's. Yeah, great shout, actually. Great shout. He's going to be shit for the rest of the season when the Twins come out. We made him, so keep him. I would keep 100 million. Yeah, we'll get less 100. Keep. Okay, we'll keep him. Put him as a top player. Okay, Lucas Paqueta. Let's put Lucas Paqueta. I think this one's quite a simple one as well. Obviously, he's taken time to adjust, and throughout all the time he's played, there has been glimpses. In the last half dozen games, we've seen what we pay 50 million quid for. I think, and I think with a full pre-season next year, and maybe Declan Rice still next to him, or a very good player, a very good midfielder next to him, like JWP or someone like that, you'll see a hell of a player. We'll have that consistently throughout the year. I think this one's a pretty easy one. Keep what we got here. Keep him. Not for sale. Been excellent. Keep him. Keep. Paqueta is going to be unreal if you get good manager. Any player will take time to adjust. Keep. Not for sale. Top draw. Keep. Wouldn't sell him for £100 million, says Barry. Wow, it's interesting. Okay, so he's straightened out. That's an easy one. We'll keep it. That's an easy one. Not for sale. He's had adjustment seasons. Hopefully it's going running. Totally right. Okay, there's a few interesting ones. Danny Ings. So, obviously signed him in January, and signed him, and have refused to play him in his actual position that he's good at, having to play him up front of his own, despite the fact Moyes has said he's not a player who plays up front of his own, but we'll play him up front of his own anyway. There's been I've seen stuff on social media saying he's another striker that we have signed, which doesn't play to his strengths, like a la Scamacca, Chicharito. Ironically, I think someone said on Twitter, the best two centre forwards we've had are converted wingers in recent history, i.e. Michail Antonio and Marko Arnautovic. Both were wingers and converted into a forward player. Now, Ings is an interesting one, I think. We know his quality. We know his quality. Because he's proven everywhere he's gone, he's scored. And the goals he's scored this season for us have all been strikers' goals. He's been in the right position at the right time. That instinctiveness, which you don't get unless you are a striker by trade. So it'll be interesting to see what people say. So look, sell Ings, useless. Keep, not good enough. Any more past it, sell him. Sell Ings, definitely slow. He's not good enough. Depends. Sell if Moyes still here under a new manager. Keep under Ings, not in our system. Might be worth keeping. Sell doesn't suit our formation. Wouldn't get back half what we paid for him. He's just a shit Chicharito. Keep him as a sub, seeing as Moyes is never going to play two up front. Ings is in the right position. Keep good striker, but then you've demoralised two of the best strikers in Europe. I think we have to let him go. Not suited to West Ham. 10 million lucky. 110 million. We will go for him. He will go. Keep. We moaned about having no strikers. Now want to sell them. I wish I did support. Aren't you meant to support? You do support GP though, Millwall now, don't you? Because we lost to Liverpool, didn't we? So you are a Millwall fan now, aren't you? If you get a good offer, we wouldn't get nothing for Ings. Ings beside would be immense. He is Fox in the box. Give him away for free. Pony can't sell Benrahma, says Aidan. Okay, so we'll leave him there. I think we'll leave him there based on the general consensus there. Michail Antonio. Another one who's, I openly admit it, I'm not a great fan of his in the last 18 months. I think we haven't seen the player that we've seen before. But in the last few games, he's been fantastic. Is it a coincidence that Scamacca's out for the season and Ings isn't on form, and so he is the best player? He is the top man. I don't think it's a coincidence. But he can be seen, and we had this when we did the late show a few weeks ago. The information we got, he has been known to be a bit of a disruptive influence in the what's name in the changing room. Got the podcast. He's quite outspoken. He's 32, 33. So coming to the end of his, probably usefulness, I'd say. He's probably got one move in him left. I don't know. I mean, he'll always be our top Premier League goal scorer for a long time until maybe someone like Mbarma comes along and starts banging in lots of goals. But, I don't know. I do not know with him what I would do, to be honest. Sell Antonio, old and slow and only going to be worse going forward. Keep, but find his double. I'd say get rid. Can't decide. Rusty blows hot and cold. Keep, sell. But for that, Matt, would you get someone? Would you sell it then in the hope of getting someone who runs more hot than cold? I don't know. Keep as a squad player. Would he want to be a squad player? Probably not. Sell him, promote Mbarma. I agree. That's a good shout. If Antonio's still a striker in trouble as a winger, keep him as a striker. Let him go for less than $10 million. 10 million Canadian dollars for Scott. I would keep Antonio. He should end his career with us. He made his bed complete with Mill. Yeah, they keep. Oh, he's all quiet. Just one word now. He's all quiet now. He stopped sulking because he knows he's going to play. Keep Antonio, slagging him off all you like. His best game this year. Great shout. No, he totally. Antonio's podcast indication that he's over. Needs to be more consistent in the beast mode, more rush. You're totally right. So it's 50-50 there. I think there's a bit of a 50-50 split there, so we'll leave him there. Scamacca. Gianluca Scamacca. Obviously, big money signing. We haven't bought a forward at number 9 since Sebastian Haller about 3 years ago, despite the need. And then we bought 2, actually, because we bought Danny Ings as well in January. Like buses. But when he's played, he scores. I think he does. I think when you see someone like Scamacca play, you realise what that type of forward could do. And particularly when you see him in line with Mickey Antonio, injuries. He's been unlucky with injuries and sickness. I think someone said he's only missed like half a dozen games in his entire career before joining West Ham. But it'll be interesting to see what the general consensus is. But what we hear, the board are very keen to keep him, and so are trying to, make sure he doesn't want to go, because maybe if Moyes does, then someone else coming and rejuvenate him. If a Roberto Mancini or Pablo Fonseca or a Michael Carrick came in, or someone like that of ilk, what could they do with a Gianluca Scamacca, a motivated, fit Gianluca Scamacca? We've seen what quality there is there. In the same way that Paqueta, we've given almost 3/4 of a season to adjust properly, and now we're seeing it. He hasn't had that same period of adjustability. He's younger as well, and personally, I'd keep, not for sale, but anyway, it's me. Let's see what everyone else says. Sell him, sell, keep. He has serious potential. Needs more time, but needs to play to his strengths. Keep. Swap with Tammy Abrahams. Can do one. Stroppy little kid. No, thanks. Cash in, says Barry. Want to keep, but he wants to go. If we attain Moyes, he's gone. Swap him with Zian Fleming. If Moyes stays, selling is the best option all round. Sell the Italian Haller. Watch him smash it in Serie A. I love him and we'll keep him. But if Moyes, we have to let him go to stop striker and score 20 plus like a similar striker in Germany. Keep, play to his strengths. Get Arnie back. Not mobile enough. Will depend on who the manager is next season, whether we keep him. So it's not, I think maybe there, based on what people are saying, getting a sort of a hint. And lastly, I think it's going to be the most interesting one, and we're going to finish on this one. Declan Rice. Let's finish with Declan Rice. Our captain. Captain. Obviously, there's... And this isn't whether we think Declan Rice is going to go. This is if we were the West Ham board and Arsenal come in with £100 million bids, what would we do? Because I think that's really the crux of it. We know what £100 million can do in terms of redevelopment of the squad, but also we know what Declan Rice brings to the side. Now, this is not, it's not we think he's going to go because he wants to go. This is our decision. We're the board, we're all here. And so what do? We've got, Arteta, Edu, the footballing director at Arsenal, has phoned up and said, hey, we've got £100 million here, or we've got £90 million here, and we want to buy Declan Rice. What do you say? For the, I think that's what makes it really interesting, because actually, taking out of the perspective of his desire, what would you do as the manager, as the board, in terms of that? We've got straight away, bring Mancini in and watch. Yeah, totally right. Sell at top price. Sell him. Keep. Need a new cap. Priceless. Only sell him at the highest possible price and then invest the money on a decent striker midfield. Only sell at a top price. I love him, but his heart seems to be in Arsenal. Anything over 90 million, we have to accept. His transfer value will only go down now unless he signs a new deal, and that could be an option, Toby. If it is a 1 more year, Declan Rice. If it is 1 more year, he's the type of person who would sign a contract to maintain the value of his worth to West Ham. I just have that feeling with him. I don't see him being the type of person who'd go on strike or who would just see his contract down. He knows his value. He knows what he can bring financially to a team like West Ham. His best mates is the sporting director as well, who again would know what £100 million could do to West Ham's playing staff. So I think there could be. I wouldn't worry so much about. It's what you would do for the benefit of the club. Would you keep him or sell him? 100 million only, no sale. Sorry, decision. They all leave us in the end. Keep Deck for me. He's new Mark Noble. He's the heart of the team. 100 million isn't enough. He's worth 200 million. How can a German international not be good enough for the Premier League? Indeed. Cash and player. If we were to go down, we wouldn't get the big money, more like 50 million. Tell you right. Swap him for Smith Rowe, Tierney, and 20 million. Might stay if we win. He might do. We can sell and replace with trash like Spurs did with Bale. Great shout, Andy. It's twist or stick in it. Don't care if we're 100 million. If we win, he'll keep it and gets to the promised land. Keep him for another year. With Pack and let him go for 60 next year. 100 million isn't life changing. It is for the squad, I think, Toby. I think for the squad, £100 million investment into the squad is, that could be a couple of good fullbacks and a good midfielder, which is something we need. We need a couple of good fullbacks and we need a decent midfielder to replace Declan Rice. I think we've got a good striker in Scamacca. We just got to play to his strengths. I think we've got enough. Maybe on the left-hand side, we've got Cornet coming in. Don't forget we've got Barma. He's in the. We've got those types of players coming through as well. It could be. Sell. Besides, if we win, we've won more than the Gunners. Keep him and build a team. I mean, the fact is, the way Arsenal are choking now, that could put kibosh his whole idea of going to Arsenal. If you're a world-class player, you need to hold on for as long as possible. Apparently, it was reported when the fans were singing one more year. Even his dad and brother were singing it. Isn't his father? He certainly is. That's a rank average player sales for 2030 nowadays. We ain't skint. We spend big every year. That sort of injection. I wouldn't say lack of funds is an issue. I think it will be, Toby, if we can't maintain that level of spend. That's for sure. I can't see, and so unless it's sold to another club, unless we're sold and a new investor comes in, I don't think you're going to see £200 million being spent every year. So if Moyes showed real effort to get good players, not just anyone, we would be so bloody good. But I think we have got good players, Barry. On paper, when we looked at it, I'm going to put him there at a top price. I think that's yeah. What we got here? If Bowen went to Newcastle, would that sway? I don't think we'd sign. I don't think we'd sell both. And you're right. It's how the money's reinvested as well. GP, you're totally right, my friend. I think Barry, the players, on paper looked good. It's just that they just haven't adjusted as quick as we wanted them to, and it's taken Paqueta 2/3 of a season to really get to the levels we wanted him to. But anyway, so that's something a bit different, isn't it? I thought it was a bit different. Only Soucek's the one who sold any price. So yeah, it's a bit different. We talk about all the games and everything, and we can this player in that formation. Just sort of interesting to get your views. And thank you to Damien for giving me the idea, or telling me the idea, and then I licked it. So thank you. Keep an eye out for later on. We've got we'll have the press conference coming up. Tommy's doing the what's it called? Late show with Tommy. That'll be on later on tonight, and then we'll have predicted 11s in the morning. We'll have a little pre-match for the Crystal Palace game, and then we'll have a review show later on Saturday probably. So anyway, hope you have a nice rest of the day. Have a nice curry or something tonight. Take care. Where we go? We ain't Russ. Half the team ain't performing enough. No, it's true. You're right, mate. Yeah, half the team haven't performed well, and as I said, 2 of the top 5 forwards in terms of performance reduction, 2 of them West Ham. There we go. If Everton go down, will they halt? I think they will actually. I think they have to. They haven't got the money. I don't think. Don't remember the world-class international setup we got in to replace him. This is all moods. If we go down, need a win tomorrow to breathe easy. Scott, my supercomputer has put us. We have a 1% chance of going down now, according to the supercomputer. The bottom 3 it predicts at the moment, with a 97% chance of going down in Southampton, 75% is Everton, and then it's 1 from Forest, Leicester, and Leeds. It's currently predicting Forest will be going down at 56%. We have apparently at the moment a 20% chance of finishing 15th, 22% chance of finishing 14th, 22% chance of finishing 13th, 40% chance of finishing 12th, and a 1% chance of finishing 10th. There we go. And on that bombshell, take care, stay safe, stay warm, stay humble, keep the faith, my friends. If you're new, give it a like, give it a comment, give it a share, subscribe, please. We're on the road to 20,000 subscribers, as Anton likes to say. And we'll see you guys very, very soon. Take care. Much love.